Christmas Eve in our small town always felt like a movie. Snow on the roofs, warm lights in every window, and families laughing as they carried gifts inside. But that year, as I walked up the hill to my family's house, all I felt was the cold. The kind that wasn't from winter, but from people. My name is Cole, and I had already learned that in my family, I was the extra chair no one wanted at the table. Still, I walked in with hope. I carried a small gift bag I bought with my own money from the part-time jobs I worked after school. The smell of roasted chicken filled the house. Everyone looked perfect, matching sweaters, music playing, cousins running around. Then they all looked at me. My mom raised a brow. "Oh, you made it." My uncle muttered something under his breath. My cousin smirked. Even my older sister, Joy, looked at me like I had ruined the decorations just by standing there. I tried to shake it off. "Merry Christmas," I said softly. No one replied. But the part that really hurt was when I saw the mountain of shiny gifts under the tree. Gifts for everyone, except me. My name wasn't on a single one. And yet, I had no idea that what they would do the next day would make this moment feel like nothing. I didn't know their humiliation had already been planned. And I definitely didn't know what would happen the morning after would change everything. Christmas morning started like it always did. Or so I thought. I slept on the old couch in the hallway because my room had been given to Joy for her skincare space. I woke up early, like I always did on Christmas, and waited for the sound of wrapping paper and excitement. Instead, I heard whispering, then laughter, then my name. I sat up, confused, and walked toward the living room. My family was already gathered around the tree. My sister was recording something on her phone, smiling like she was about to win an award. "Okay," she said loudly. "Is everyone ready?" My mom clapped her hands. "Let's do it." I stepped inside, still half asleep. "Do what?" They all looked at me and laughed. My dad held up a small, colorful box, no bigger than his palm. "Cole, this is from all of us." Everyone got real quiet, like they were waiting for me to open it and cry. I swallowed, walked over, and took the box. Cameras were on me, phones recording. Even my cousins whispered, holding back laughter. I opened it slowly. Inside was a broken toy train wheel. Just a wheel. "Since you never grew up," Joy said loudly, "we thought it fits you." They exploded with laughter. My face burned. My hands shook. I felt something break inside me, something deeper than pride. But they didn't know something else was happening in my mind. A different kind of train had already started moving, and it wasn't stopping. I didn't say a word as they laughed. My dad joked about boys who don't become men. My uncle teased me for having no direction, and Joy kept filming every second like she wanted the world to see my humiliation. But while they laughed, my brain was doing something else. Calculating. Not revenge, not yet, but clarity. For years, they told me I'd never amount to anything. They said I was slow because I stayed quiet. Weak because I avoided fights. Dumb because I didn't show off my grades like Joy. But what they didn't know was that I wasn't slow. I was observant. I didn't avoid fights because I was scared. I avoided them because I knew I'd win, and they wouldn't recover from it. I wasn't dumb. I was building something. Something they had always ignored because they were too busy laughing. I slipped the toy wheel into my pocket and stared at them as they opened their expensive gifts, smartwatches, designer bags, limited edition sneakers. Joy smirked at me. "Feel free to take pictures of our gifts. At least you'll have nice memories." I forced myself to breathe. Then I turned around and walked away. But just before I left the room, I heard my mom say, "I hope he learns a lesson from this." I did, just not the one they hoped for, because by the next morning, they'd be the ones learning. I went outside to breathe. The cold air hit my face, but it felt better than the heat burning behind my eyes. I sat on the porch steps, staring at the snow-covered yard. In that moment, I finally accepted something. I couldn't stay in that house anymore. Not emotionally, not mentally, not even physically. I pulled out my phone. I had one missed message from Mr. Ryland, my part-time boss at the local repair shop. He always treated me better than my own family ever did. The message said, "Cole, come in tomorrow morning." We need to talk. Big opportunity for you. I stared at the screen, my heart thudding. I didn't know what the opportunity was, but I trusted him. He always noticed how good I was with fixing things, electronics, machines, even things he thought were impossible. I looked back at the house behind me. Music and laughter echoed inside. My laughter had never been part of that sound. Not once. I slowly realized something. The broken toy wheel was an insult. It was a reminder of who they thought I was, and who I wasn't going to be anymore. By the time I walked back inside, something had changed in me. I wasn't going to let them break me again. Not tonight. Not ever. And I didn't know it yet, but the big opportunity waiting for me tomorrow would expose everything my family had been hiding and destroy the pride they used to humiliate me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay awake on the hallway couch, listening to the sounds of Christmas fading out, wrapping paper in trash bags, footsteps in bedrooms, laughter turning into silence. But inside me, everything was loud. Every insult they threw at me replayed like an echo. We thought it fits you. You never grew up. No direction. A burden. The broken toy wheel was on my chest. I rolled it between my fingers, feeling the jagged edges. Something about it felt symbolic, like the last piece of their version of me. But they didn't know I had been working on something for months. They didn't know people in town actually respected me. They didn't know I had a skill they all wished they had. And they didn't know that the next morning, their empire of pride would crack. At 6 a.m., before the sun even rose, I got up, grabbed my jacket, and left the house without a sound. I walked through snow-covered streets, past houses glowing with early Christmas warmth. Families comforting each other, not tearing each other apart. When I reached the repair shop, I saw the light was already on. "Come in, Cole," Mr. Ryland called from inside. His voice sounded serious. But I had no idea he was about to reveal something connected to my family. Something huge. Something that would turn their humiliation into a regret they would never escape. The shop was warm compared to the icy street outside. Tools hung neatly on the walls, and the scent of engine oil mixed with fresh coffee. Mr. Ryland stood beside the workbench, holding a thick folder. "You came early," he said, smiling a little. "I couldn't sleep," I admitted. He nodded like he already knew why. He'd heard the way my family talked to me before. In a small town, nothing stayed hidden. He motioned for me to sit. "Cole, I've been watching you for a long time. You fix things most grown mechanics can't even figure out. You work hard. You don't complain. You think before you talk. That's rare." I felt my face warm, not from embarrassment, but from hearing words I'd needed for years. Then he lowered his voice. "I want you to run something for me." My eyebrows rose. "Me?" "Yes, you." He opened the folder. Inside were blueprints, diagrams, and a thick envelope with my name written on it. "I'm retiring soon," he said, "and I'm handing the shop over to someone I trust." I blinked, confused. "But why me?" He leaned back. "Because you're smarter than you think, and smarter than they know." My heart thumped, but before I could speak, he said something that made my entire body freeze. "This decision wasn't only mine. Someone else recommended you." "Who?" I whispered. He looked straight at me. "Your grandfather." And that changed everything. I felt the room tilt for a second. My grandfather, my dad's father, had passed away 2 years earlier. He was the only person in my family who treated me like I mattered. He taught me how to use tools, how to solve problems, how to think like a builder instead of a follower. And now, even from the grave, he was still protecting me. He told me, Ryland continued, "That boy has the brain of an engineer and the heart of a leader. Don't let them crush him." My throat tightened. I blinked hard, trying not to show the emotion rising in me. Ryland pushed the envelope toward me. "Open it." Inside were documents, notarized and official. My name next to the words, "Full ownership transfer, Ryland Repair and Machines. Effective on approval." My hand shook. I don't understand." "You've already done half the work," he said. "You fix things without needing instructions. You invent shortcuts. You're more talented than you realize. And your grandfather saw this coming. He paused. The way your family treats you. A cold wave ran through me. He said they would laugh at you. He said they would try to make you feel small. But he also said this. Give Cole something they can't take away. I stared at the papers. For the first time in my life, someone had bet on me, and now, because of that trust, my life was splitting into two paths. One where I stayed quiet, and one where I finally stepped into who I was meant to be. I want you to take a week to think about it, Ryland said, handing me a pen. If you sign, the shop becomes yours. I'll train you for the next year. Then you'll take full control. My heart pounded in my ears. A shop, a real business, a future, everything my family said I'd never have, placed right in front of me. But another thought struck me. My family, they won't. Ryland cut me off. They don't have to know until you want them to. I swallowed. I thought about the broken toy wheel, the laughter, the phones recording, the humiliation they planned just to make themselves feel superior. No, they didn't deserve to know. Not yet. I tucked the envelope inside my jacket and stood. Thank you. I whispered. You earned this, he said, and your grandfather will be proud. As I stepped outside, the sun was rising over the small town. The sky looked golden, like the world was repainting itself. My old life felt like deep snow behind me, cold, heavy, and hard to walk through. But ahead, something new, warm, powerful, a future they could never control. I didn't know it yet, but in less than 24 hours, my family would come begging for me, and their regret would be louder than their laughter. I walked back home with the envelope pressed against my chest under my jacket. Every step felt unreal, like I was holding a secret powerful enough to change everything. The house came into view. I expected silence or leftovers on the table. Instead, I heard shouting. Not angry shouting, panic shouting. I froze at the doorway. My mom, dad, and sister were running around the living room like they were searching for something. Check the kitchen, Mom screamed. I already did. Dad shouted back. Joy was in tears. It has to be here. It has to. I stepped inside slowly. What's going on? They all whipped around at the same time, faces pale, terrified, sweating. My dad grabbed my shoulders. Cole, did you see anything when you left this morning? See what? I asked. Mom ran to window, looking outside like she expected police lights to appear. This can't be happening. Joy sank onto the couch, shaking. We're ruined. My pulse quickened. What happened? My dad swallowed hard. Someone broke into the house last night. I stared at him, and they didn't take the TV, or cash, or jewelry. He wiped sweat from his forehead. They took the Christmas money. My stomach dropped. The Christmas money. Every year, my parents collected big payments from their side business. Money they weren't allowed to keep. Money that was supposed to be passed on to people far more dangerous than anyone in our town. And now, someone had stolen it. All of it. For the first time in my life, my family wasn't proud. They were terrified. My dad paced so hard the floorboards rattled. This is bad. This is really, really bad. My mom pressed her hands against her mouth. What are we going to tell them? Joy hugged herself, trembling. They're going to think we stole it. I stood there, silent, absorbing every word. The side business wasn't a secret to me. They thought I was stupid, but I had ears. I knew they had been holding money for a group of men who helped my dad in the past. The kind of men you didn't disappoint. My dad turned to me suddenly. Cole, you didn't touch anything in our room, right? No, I said firmly. Did you see someone leave? Hear anything? Anything at all? I shook my head. Joy sniffled. This isn't happening. This can't be happening. My mom grabbed my dad's arm. They'll be here tomorrow to collect it. Tomorrow, the same day I was supposed to sign the papers for the shop. 2 pads, both pulling at me. But then something strange occurred to me. How much money was taken? I asked. My dad stared at me, sweating. All of it. $50,000. My heart skipped. 50,000. Gone. And then another thought hit me even harder. Whoever stole it had to know exactly where it was, exactly when they slept, exactly how to get inside without waking anyone. Someone who knew the house, someone smart, someone observant, someone quiet, someone like, but no, that was impossible, wasn't it? I stood in the living room while my family kept searching, yelling, panicking. But my mind was moving quietly, faster than theirs, clearer than the chaos around me. I replayed the scene in my head. Someone sneaked into the house, without waking anyone. Someone knew where the Christmas money was hidden. My dad always kept it in a locked metal box inside the closet, under old blankets. Only family knew that. Someone knew which window stuck on cold nights. Someone knew the house alarm had dead batteries because my parents were too lazy to replace them. Someone who had been invisible to them for years. Someone who they underestimated. Someone like, Cole. I blinked. My mom was staring at me, eyes wide and suspicious. Your jacket. Why does it look heavier? I stiffened. The envelope from Ryland was inside it, thick and noticeable. It's just cold, I said calmly. She stepped closer. What's in it? Nothing for you. Her eyes narrowed, but she turned away as Dad shouted, They'll be here tomorrow. We need to find it before then. Joy started crying again. I don't want problems, Dad. I stepped back slowly, watching them fall apart. For years, they made fun of me, humiliated me, ignored me. Now they were finally experiencing what it felt like to be powerless. But I still didn't understand one thing. Who took the money? And why did a part of me feel like I already knew the answer? I went to my old bedroom, now Joy's skincare room, and shut the door behind me. The air inside felt dusty and forgotten, just like everything I used to keep here. I sat on the floor, the envelope still hidden inside my jacket. $50,000 gone. Dangerous men coming tomorrow. My family in fear. None of this added up. Unless I pulled out the broken toy wheel from my pocket. I turned it between my fingers, feeling its sharp edge. The same edge that cut a tiny tear in my jacket earlier. And then it clicked. Not the wheel. The timing. The break-in happened the same night my family humiliated me. The same night they recorded me and laughed like I was the joke of the season. Someone saw that. Someone heard that. Someone cared. My heart raced. There were two people in this world who ever stood up for me. My grandfather and Maisie. She lived 3 streets away. We grew up together. She always defended me when my family didn't. She once told me, "You don't even know your worth yet." But would she steal from me? No. Maisie was kind. But her brother, Evan, he wasn't. I stood up quickly. I needed answers before things exploded tomorrow. Before dangerous men came knocking. Before my family did something stupid and blamed me. For the first time ever, I wasn't scared. I was ready. Because this time, I wasn't the one being hunted. I was the one who knew exactly where to look. The snow crunched under my boots as I headed toward Maisie and Evan's house. The sky was gray, heavy, like it was holding its breath. I kept replaying every detail in my mind. Evan was clever, but reckless. He always hung around the wrong crowds. He bragged about getting into houses, picking locks, and doing small jobs for big people. He once told me, if I ever help someone, it'll be someone who deserves better. Did he mean me? When I reached their porch, I knocked 3 times. The door opened almost instantly. It was Maisie. Her eyes widened when she saw me. Cole? Oh my gosh, are you okay? I saw your sister's post. What they did to you was horrible. I felt heat rise to my face. You saw that. Everyone saw it, she whispered angrily. They humiliated you. I swallowed. Maisie, did Evan? Before I could finish, Evan appeared behind her. He crossed his arms. You here because the money disappeared? My breath caught. Maisie spun around. Evan, what did you do? He didn't answer her. He stared straight at me. You think I took it, don't you? I didn't speak. I didn't have to. He smirked. Let's talk outside. Maisie grabbed his arm. Evan, don't you dare. It's fine, he said. Cole deserved the truth. My stomach tightened. Truth? About what? We stepped outside, the cold biting the air between us. Evan shoved his hands in his pockets and stared down the road like he was choosing his words carefully. First, he said, I didn't break into your house. I exhaled slowly, but he wasn't finished. But someone did. My chest tightened again. Who? He kicked the snow with his boot, then looked at me with sharp eyes. Someone who was sick of watching your family crush you. Someone who saw that stupid video before they deleted it. My blood ran cold. Wait, deleted? Evan nodded. Your sister tried to go viral humiliating you, but someone reported it. It got taken down within minutes. Who reported it? He raised a brow. I did. For a moment, I just stared at him. Evan was always trouble, but this time he sounded almost protective. But the money? I asked, You're saying you didn't take it? I didn't, he said firmly, but I know who did. My pulse thundered in my ears. Who? Evan stepped closer, lowering his voice. Someone who was in your house last night. Someone your family treats even worse than they treat you. I frowned. There's no one else in that house. He shook his head slowly. There is. I felt a chill run up my spine. What are you talking about? Evan stared at me, dead serious. Cole, your grandfather's safe? The one he left behind. My heart dropped. What about it? Evan took a breath. It wasn't empty. I felt the world tilt beneath me. What do you mean it wasn't empty? Evan looked straight into my eyes. Your grandfather didn't trust your dad. He didn't trust your mom. He barely trusted Joy. But he trusted you. So he left something behind. Something for you. I shook my head. No, Dad said the safe was empty. He said Grandpa didn't leave anything. Evan let out a short, humorless laugh. Yeah, because your dad checked it right after the funeral. He wanted whatever was inside, but he didn't have a combination. My breath caught. Grandpa always told me, a lock only listens to the hand it respects. Was that literal? I whispered. You opened the safe? No, Evan said. Someone else did. Someone who knew your grandfather better than your family ever did. Who? I demanded. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Your grandfather's old friend. The man who used to visit him at the shop. The one who taught him security systems. My eyes widened. Mr. Ryland. Evan nodded. He opened the safe last night, and he took what was inside. My stomach twisted. But why would he? Evan cut me off. He did it for you. A cold silence filled the air. For me? I whispered. Evan nodded. Your grandfather left something behind that your family would have ruined if they found it first. I swallowed hard. What was it? Evan's voice dropped to a whisper. $50,000. My breath froze. My family's missing money wasn't stolen. It was never theirs to begin with. It was mine. The words sank in slowly, like ice spreading through my chest. The money was yours, Evan repeated. Your grandfather left it in that safe, hidden, untouched. He told Ryland to keep it secret until the right time. I staggered back. And that time was now? Evan nodded. He said your family would humiliate you before they'd ever respect you. He wanted them to expose who they really were before you inherited what he left. I couldn't breathe for a second. Everything connected. The envelope, Ryland's offer, the money that disappeared. It was never stolen. It was revealed. But then my mind jumped ahead. My family thinks that money belonged to those dangerous men. They're terrified. Evan looked grim. They're not wrong. Your dad mixed that money with his own. He's been using your grandfather's inheritance to pay debts to people he shouldn't even know. I ran a hand through my hair, pacing. So now they think the debt collectors are coming for them. Evan nodded. And they are. I froze. They'll show up tomorrow. Evan said, they always collect the day after Christmas. Everything was spiraling. My family's lies, the inheritance, the men coming. But then I realized something else. Something sharper. I wasn't powerless anymore. I had the truth. I had ownership. I had leverage. And for the first time in years, I had control. Tomorrow, they'd face the consequences, and I'd be the one holding the mirror. When I got home, the house was darker than usual. My family sat around the dining table, silent and pale. You could almost hear their thoughts hitting the walls. Joy glanced up when I entered. "Where have you been?" "Out," I said simply. Dad slammed his hand on the table. "You think this is a joke? We could lose everything." I wanted to laugh. Everything? They'd already taken everything from me. My dignity, my room, my peace. Mom's voice cracked. "Those men will come tomorrow, Cole. If we don't have the money, we're finished." I stared at them for a long time before answering. "Maybe you should have thought of that before humiliating me." Joy's lips trembled. "Cole, we're sorry." "No," I cut her off. "You're not sorry. You're scared." They all went quiet. For a moment, I saw flashes of the night before, my mother laughing, my father smirking, Joy recording my pain. Now, they couldn't even look at me. "I'm not helping you," I said flatly. Dad stood up, furious. "You ungrateful." I met his eyes calmly. "You called me useless. Maybe you should handle this without me." I turned toward the hallway, feeling every eye on my back, and just before I reached my old couch, I said quietly, "Tomorrow's going to change everything." They thought it was a warning, but it was a promise. That night, sleep didn't come easily. The house was silent except for the sound of a clock ticking too loudly. Every tick felt like a countdown. I lay there thinking about what Evan told me. Ryland taking the inheritance. The $50,000 that belonged to me. My grandfather's voice echoing in my memory. "When they mock you, stay silent. When they fall, stay calm." At dawn, I got up and dressed quietly. My heart wasn't racing anymore. It was steady. When I reached the shop, Ryland was already waiting. He looked up from the workbench and gave me a knowing smile. "You spoke to Evan, didn't you?" he asked. I nodded. "So it's true." He sighed and opened a drawer, pulling out a metal briefcase. He placed it gently on the counter, between us. "This belonged to your grandfather," he said, "and now it belongs to you." I hesitated. "The money?" He nodded. "Every dollar. He saved it over years. It was supposed to fund whatever dream you built when you were ready." My throat tightened. He knew what they'd do to me. Ryland's voice softened. He predicted almost every word they'd say. But he also predicted this. Your silence wouldn't mean weakness. It meant you were learning. I stared at the case. By tonight, my family would meet the people they owed. And I'd meet the person I was always meant to be. By midday, the town was alive again. Kids sledding, families gathering. But inside our house, fear had frozen everything. Joy sat by the window, wringing her hands. My parents whisper in corners. Try to call people who no longer answered. At exactly 3 p.m., a black SUV pulled up outside. The air went cold. Dad rushed to the door. "Everyone stay calm," he muttered, though his voice shook. 2 men stepped out, both in dark coats. They didn't knock. They just walked in. "Afternoon," one of them said smoothly. "We're here for Mr. Bennett." My dad swallowed. I just need a few more days." The man smiled thinly. "That's not how this works." My mom tried to speak, but her voice broke. Joy started crying again. Then the man's gaze shifted to me. "You're the son." I nodded slowly. He tilted his head. "You don't look worried." "I'm not," I said quietly. He raised a brow. "Interesting." I stepped forward. "Because the money you came for, it's not my father's to give." The room went dead silent. Dad's face went red. "Cole, stop talking." But I didn't stop. It was my grandfather's. It belongs to me. The man's eyes narrowed slightly. "You have proof." I reached into my jacket and pulled out the ownership documents. More than proof. The man studied the papers, then looked back at my dad with a slow, dangerous smile. "Looks like your son's the only Bennett with sense." The tension in the room could have split the floorboards. My dad's voice cracked as he tried to explain. "It's all a misunderstanding. The money." The man raised a hand. Save it. He looked at me again. Mr. Ryland sent word this morning. We already confirmed ownership. The inheritance is real. My father froze. Ryland? You know him? The man smirked. He's one of our investors. Mom gasped. Investor? He nodded. Your father owed us money years ago, but your grandfather helped us once. We respected him. When he died, we stayed away out of honor. Until your husband started borrowing again. I stepped closer, calm but firm. My grandfather didn't leave his legacy for my dad's debts. He left it to rebuild what's good in this town. The man stared at me for a long moment. Then he smiled faintly. Smart kid. He turned to my father. Your debt's cleared for now. Because of him. Don't make us regret it. They left quietly, leaving the air thick with disbelief. My dad slumped into a chair, pale. My mom covered her face. Joy whispered, Cole, what just happened? I looked at them all. The people who laughed at me, filmed me, ignored me. Then I said softly, that's what it feels like when the person you thought was small stands taller than all of you. No one spoke. No one laughed. And for the first time in years, I didn't need their approval. I already had something better. Respect. The house felt different after the men left. Not safer, just exposed. Like every lie my family built finally cracked open and the cold air rushed in. Dad rubbed his face. Mom kept whispering prayers under her breath. Joy stared at me like I was a stranger. I didn't blame her. I was different now. You knew, Dad finally said, his voice low. You knew the whole time. I shook my head. I found out this morning. But even if I knew earlier, you wouldn't have listened. Mom stepped forward, eyes wet. We were scared, Cole. That money, those men, your father didn't have a choice. Yes, he did. I cut in. He chose pride. He chose shortcuts. He chose to treat me like I was worthless. Dad's jaw tightened. I was trying to protect this family. I met his eyes. By tearing down one of your own? Silence. Then Joy stood. Cole, we messed up. What we did yesterday was awful. But we didn't know you had all this behind you. I breathed slowly. That's the problem. You gave respect based on what I had, not who I was. No one argued. For years, I had begged quietly to be seen. But now that they finally saw me, the boy in their mind was gone. All that was left was the young man my grandfather knew I'd become. And I wasn't done yet. That evening, I walked to the repair shop. I needed space, time to think without the weight of their guilt pressing down on me. Ryland was locking up when he saw me. Rough day? He asked gently. I nodded. They only understand me now because they realized I have something they want to benefit from. That's how people with weak character behave, he said. But character shows over time, not in a single day. I sat on the steps outside the shop. They're scared. I can tell. Not about the men. About losing control. Ryland sat beside me. You have power now, Cole. Not because of money, but because of clarity. I looked at him. Clarity. He nodded. You know who you are. They don't get to define you anymore. That hit deeper than I expected. I opened the metal case for the first time. Stacks of bills were tightly packed inside, untouched. But beneath them was a small envelope. My chest tightened. My grandfather's handwriting. Open it, Ryland said. My hand shook slightly as I tore the seal. Inside was a single letter. Cole, when they laugh at you, watch carefully. When they break you, stay steady. The world respects not the loud, but the prepared. Use what I leave you with wisdom, not to destroy, but to rise. Grandpa. I stared at the words, feeling something warm fill my chest. This was a revenge. It was destiny. And tomorrow, the next step will begin. Morning light spilled across the town like gold brushing the rooftops. I walked home with the letter tucked safely in my jacket. But when I entered the house, I found something I never expected. My entire family sitting on the couch, waiting for me. Dad stood first. Son, I know I failed you. Mom wiped her eyes. We were cruel, Cole. We hurt you. And yesterday that wasn't a prank. It was bullying. Joy whispered. I deleted the video. I'm sorry. Really sorry. These were words I had wanted to hear for years. But they didn't feel like healing. They felt like consequences. I sat down slowly. I'm not angry anymore, I said, but things won't go back to the way they were. Dad swallowed. We just want to fix this. You can't fix what you don't understand, I replied. You treated me like I was nothing because I didn't shine the way Joy did, because I was quiet, because I didn't brag. Mom cried quietly. Dad stared at the floor. Joy nodded, ashamed. But I'm not staying broken, I continued. Grandpa believed in me. Rylan believes in me. And now I believe in myself. I looked each of them in the eye. You don't define my future anymore. None of them spoke. For the first time ever, they listened, and that was enough. Later that afternoon, I returned to the shop. Rylan was waiting with 2 sets of keys, one for the office, one for the workroom. He placed them in my hand. You ready? I smiled for the first time in days. Yeah. He patted my shoulder. Then let's make it official. We signed the transfer documents together. My hands didn't shake this time. The future didn't feel heavy. It felt solid, earned. When we finished, he handed me a small wooden box. Your grandfather wanted you to have this after the papers were signed. Inside was an old pocket watch, his, the one he always carried, the one he never let anyone touch except me. I closed my hand around it, feeling the weight, the history, the love behind it. Rylan said quietly, this shop will be bigger under you than it ever was under me. I laughed softly. I hope so. He smiled. I don't hope. I know. We walked through the shop, the machines humming softly like they were greeting me. The place didn't feel like a job anymore. It felt like a beginning, a new chapter that had waited patiently behind all the pain, all the silence, all the humiliation. And now it was finally mine. Tomorrow, the sign outside would change. Rylan Repair and Machines would become Bennett Engineering and Repair. My grandfather's legacy, my future, my story. And it was only just starting. The sun was setting when I reached home again. My family was quieter now, gentler, almost fragile, not out of fear, out of realization. Dad approached me slowly. Where do we go from here, Cole? I thought about it carefully. Forward, I said, but not backward. Mom nodded through tears. Joy tried to smile. I wasn't promising closeness. I wasn't promising forgiveness overnight. I was promising growth, if they meant it. I stepped outside onto the porch, breathing the cold, clean air. The same porch where I had sat alone on Christmas morning, humiliated. Now I stood there as someone new, someone whole. My phone buzzed. A message from Evan. He'd be proud of you. I typed back. I finally feel proud of myself. Then another message came, this time from Rylan. Tomorrow, you open a shop as the owner. Sleep well tonight. You earned it. I slipped my hands into my pockets and felt the broken toy wheel, the reminder of who they thought I was. I threw it into the snow. It landed softly, disappearing into white. Then I pulled out my grandfather's pocket watch instead, the real reminder of who I was becoming. This Christmas didn't break me. It revealed me. It rebuilt me. And the next morning, the world would meet a different Cole. Not the family's afterthought, not the quiet boy they mocked, but the young man with a future, a business, a legacy, and a name worth respecting. My name is Cole Bennett, and this is the Christmas my life began.